Raven Blackwood had escorted diplomats, weapons shipments, and even illegal AI cores across the galaxy, but nothing had prepared her for the sight before her. The being stood 7 feet tall, her crystalline form refracting the soft light of the luxury suite into rainbow cascades across the walls. Each movement created a symphony of gentle chimes as her crystalline segments shifted against each other. "I am Lyra Novix of the Meridian Empire." The crystal being's voice resonated like wind through crystal caves. "You are the Guardian." Raven straightened her posture, the neural interfaces of her combat suit humming to life. "Raven Blackwood, Independent Security Services. Your transport's ready whenever you are." The credits for this job would set her up for life, enough to buy her own ship and finally escape the shadow of her family's military legacy. All she had to do was get one crystalline aristocrat safely to the outer rim. Simple. Lyra's faceted head tilted, studying Raven with geometric precision. "You seem younger than I expected." The Meridian Empire specified their most capable guardian. "Age is irrelevant when you've got the highest success rate in the sector," Raven replied, running a hand through her short silver hair, a remnant of neural enhancement surgery. "Shall we?" The transport waited in the private docking bay, a sleek Nighthawk-class vessel designed for speed and stealth. As they walked, Raven noticed how Lyra's crystalline form seemed to absorb shadows, creating patches of perfect darkness between her translucent segments. "Your kind fascinates me," Lyra said as they boarded. "So fragile in form, yet capable of such extraordinary adaptations." She gestured to Raven's combat suit with its visible neural interfaces. "Humanity's greatest strength is our drive to evolve," Raven replied, settling into the pilot's seat. "We see limitations as challenges to overcome." The ship's engines hummed to life, their resonance causing Lyra's form to chime softly. "Perhaps that is why the Empire fears you." Raven's hands paused over the controls. "The Empire hired me. Why would they fear humans?" "Did they?" Lyra's voice carried an undertone that set Raven's combat instincts on edge. "Check your contract again, Guardian." Carefully. Frowning, Raven pulled up the contract hologram. The neural interface in her temple pulsed as she speed-read through the document. There, in the authorization codes. They weren't Imperial standard. They came from the Resistance. Raven breathed. "You're running from the Empire." "Yes." Lyra's form dimmed slightly. "And now you have a choice, Guardian. Complete your contract with the Resistance, or turn me into the Empire for an even greater reward." Raven's combat suit registered elevated heart rate and adrenaline levels. Every mercenary instinct screamed to take the Empire's offer. But something in Lyra's quiet dignity, in the way she presented the choice without pleading or manipulation, struck a deeper chord. "The contract's the contract," Raven said finally, punching in the launch sequence. "I don't care who signed it. My reputation is worth more than credits. Even when the Empire will brand you a traitor. Wouldn't be the first time humans have earned that label for doing the right thing." Raven gave her passenger a crooked smile. "Besides, I've always wanted to punch an Empire in the face." As their ship broke atmosphere, Raven's sensors detected multiple vessels dropping out of hyperspace, Imperial warships, their crystalline hulls gleaming like deadly jewels. "They found us faster than expected," Lyra observed with remarkable calm. Raven's neural interfaces flared as she accessed the ship's weapons and defensive systems. "Good thing humans excel at impossible odds. Strap in, Your Highness. This is going to get interesting." The pursuing ships opened fire, their crystal-focused energy weapons lighting up space like an aurora. But Raven hadn't earned her reputation by playing it safe. She dove the Nighthawk into the planet's debris ring, using the scattered asteroids as cover. "You're insane," Lyra chimed, her crystal form resonating with each near miss. "No one flies through the rings at combat speed." "Humans do," Raven grinned, executing a roll between two colliding rocks. "When the alternative is letting bullies win." As they wove through the debris field, Raven noticed something odd. Each time their ship came close to larger asteroids, Lyra's crystalline form pulsed with energy, and the rocks subtly shifted their trajectories. "You're moving them," Raven realized. "The asteroids, you're controlling them somehow. The Empire uses my kind as living power sources," Lyra explained, her voice tight with concentration. "Our crystalline nature allows us to channel and amplify energy. It's why I had to escape. The bonding ceremony would have permanently connected me to their war machines." Raven's jaw clenched. Slavery with a fancy name is still slavery. "Hold on. I've got an idea." She swung the ship around, charging straight at their pursuers. The Imperial ships scattered, expecting a suicide run. Instead, Raven cut power at the last second, letting their momentum carry them through the debris field. "Now," she shouted, "hit them with everything you've got." Lyra's form blazed like a star. The debris field came alive, thousands of asteroids moving in concert. The Imperial ships found themselves caught in a web of controlled chaos, their crystal hulls cracking under the impact of precisely aimed rocks. "Hyperspace coordinates locked," Raven announced, restoring power. "Time to disappear." As the stars stretched into infinity around them, Lyra turned to her guardian. "Why did you really help me?" "The truth." Raven was quiet for a moment, watching the hyperspace corridor swirl. "Because humans remember what it's like to fight for freedom. To be told we're too aggressive, too adaptable, too dangerous to be trusted with our own destiny. The Empire thinks they can control everything, even people. Someone needs to prove them wrong. And that someone is you. That someone is us." Raven met Lyra's crystalline gaze. "If you're willing to trust a crazy human with a plan." For the first time, Lyra's form brightened with what could only be described as hope. "I believe, Guardian, this is the beginning of a fascinating partnership." The Nighthawk sailed deeper into hyperspace, carrying its unlikely pair of rebels toward a future neither of them could have imagined. But then, impossible futures were humanity's specialty. The Nighthawk drifted in the shadow of a massive gas giant, its stealth systems making it nearly invisible against the swirling storms below. In the ship's small medical bay, Raven studied the hairline fractures spreading across Lyra's crystalline shoulder with growing concern. "The asteroid manipulation took more out of you than you let on," she said, running a scanner over the damage. "Why didn't you tell me you were hurt?" Lyra's form dimmed slightly, a sign Raven had learned meant discomfort. "My kind, we do not easily admit weakness. The Empire taught us that imperfection is failure." "Well, the Empire's not here." Raven adjusted the medical bay's resonance field, matching it to Lyra's natural frequency. "And humans learned a long time ago that hiding injuries just gets you killed." As the healing vibrations worked through Lyra's crystal structure, Raven noticed patterns beneath the surface, complex lattices that seemed to pulse with their own inner light. She'd never been this close to a meridian before, never had the chance to really look. "You're staring," Lyra observed, amusement tinging her harmonic voice. "Sorry. It's just, you're beautiful." The words slipped out before Raven could stop them. She quickly busied herself with the medical equipment. "Structurally, I mean. From an engineering perspective. You humans." Lyra's form brightened briefly with what Raven had come to recognize as laughter. "Always trying to rationalize your emotions with science." The moment was interrupted by a proximity alert. Raven's neural interfaces flashed warning signals as she pulled up the sensor display. 3 ships just dropped out of hyperspace, merchant class, but their energy signatures are wrong. "Bounty hunters." Lyra's voice hardened. The Empire would not risk sending official forces this far into neutral space. Raven was already moving to the bridge, her combat suit adjusting to battle readiness. "How did they find us?" "These weren't random coordinates." "They didn't find us," Lyra said quietly. "They were waiting." "Guardian, there is something I must tell you." The weight in her voice made Raven turn. "I'm not going to like this, am I?" "The Resistance. They are not what you think. The Empire's abuse of my kind is real, but the Resistance seeks to use us just as badly. They want me as a weapon, not an ally. Raven's cybernetic hand clenched. So I'm working for someone just as bad as the Empire. Perfect. No. Lyra moved closer, her crystal form casting rainbow patterns across Raven's armor. You're working for me. The contract was real. I arranged it through Resistance channels, but the choice to run was mine alone. The bounty hunter ships were closing in, their weapons charging. Raven had seconds to decide. Why didn't you tell me this from the start? Would you have believed the truth? That a Meridian noble would abandon everything to choose her own path? We're supposed to be logical, emotionless beings. The Empire has spread that propaganda for centuries. But you're not. Raven's neural interfaces sparked as a plan formed. You feel everything. Pain, fear, hope, just like us. Yes. Lyra's form pulsed with intensity. That is why they want to bind me. A Meridian who feels is dangerous, unpredictable, like humans. The first warning shot streaked past their bow. Raven's hands flew over the controls, powering up the Nighthawk's weapons. Well then, partner, let's show them just how unpredictable we can be. She swung the ship into an attack pattern that would have made her flight instructors scream. The Nighthawk dove between the bounty hunter vessels, its smaller size allowing maneuvers their larger ships couldn't match. They're using crystal-focused weapons, Lyra observed. Standard Imperial technology. Can you affect them like you did the asteroids? Not without direct contact. But Lyra's form brightened with inspiration. The gas giant's storms contain crystal particulates. If I channel enough energy through the ship's systems, we could create one hell of a light show. Raven grinned. Do it. The bounty hunters had them bracketed, energy weapons charging for a killing blow. But they hadn't counted on a human's crazy plan and a Meridian's power. Lyra connected to the ship's systems, her crystal form blazing like a miniature sun. The gas giant's storms responded to her call. Crystal particles in the atmosphere began to glow, creating chains of energy that danced between the ships. The bounty hunters' crystal-based technology went haywire, their weapons overloading. That's our cue. Raven punched the engines to maximum, launching them past the disabled ships. Plot us a course somewhere they won't expect. Somewhere neither the Empire nor the Resistance has eyes. I know a place, Lyra said, her form still glowing from the energy manipulation. An abandoned mining station in the drift. It's been forgotten since the Crystal Wars. As they prepared to jump to hyperspace, Raven glanced at her companion. No more secrets. No more secrets, Lyra agreed. Though I warn you, Guardian, the truth of my people, of why we really fled the Empire, is darker than you imagine. I can handle dark. Raven's neural interfaces pulsed with determination. What I can't handle is not knowing who to trust. Then trust this. Lyra extended a crystalline hand, touching Raven's armored shoulder. Where they connected, rainbow patterns danced across both crystal and metal. I choose you as my guardian, not because of a contract, but because you see me as I am. Not a tool, not a weapon, just someone fighting to be free. The hyperspace corridor opened before them, a swirling path to uncertainty. But as they left the disabled bounty hunters behind, Raven felt something she hadn't experienced since leaving Earth's military: hope. Sometimes trust, like freedom, had to be shattered before it could be rebuilt into something stronger. The abandoned mining station hung in the drift like a forgotten jewel, its crystal lattice structure dark except for emergency power signatures. As the Nighthawk docked in a hidden maintenance bay, Raven's neural interfaces picked up centuries of accumulated data fragments floating in the station's ancient systems. The Crystal Wars, she muttered, scanning through the historical records. First contact between humans and Meridians. We thought we'd found paradise, a species that could amplify and focus energy through their crystalline forms. And we thought we'd found the perfect tools, Lyra added, her form casting shadows in the dim bay. Adaptable, creative beings who could help us expand our empire. Neither side understood what they were dealing with. The station groaned around them, settling into its eternal orbit. Raven's combat suit detected multiple structural weaknesses, but the core systems seemed stable enough. How long can we stay here? Long enough to plan our next move. Lyra moved through the station with surprising familiarity. This was once a joint human meridian research facility, before the Empire decided your kind was too dangerous to work with as equals. They found the station's control center still partially functional. As Raven worked to restore basic systems, she noticed Lyra growing more agitated, her crystal form flickering with unusual patterns. "Something's wrong," Raven said, straightening from the console. "You're not just tired from the fight with the bounty hunters." Lyra's form dimmed. "No, I am approaching my resonance cycle. It is why the Empire and Resistance are hunting me so desperately." Resonance cycle. Every century, a meridian's crystal structure becomes capable of forming new connections. It is typically when we are bound to the Empire's war machines. Lyra's voice carried centuries of accumulated pain. But if left unbonded, the energy builds until what? Until we either choose a compatible energy pattern to sync with, or we shatter. Lyra turned to face her guardian. "Raven, your neural interfaces, they operate on crystalline technology, do they not?" Raven's hand went to the neural ports at her temples. "Modified from Meridian designs, yes. After the wars, we adapted what we learned to enhance ourselves instead of fighting you." "Are you saying you are compatible?" Lyra stepped closer, her crystal form humming with increasing intensity. "Your neural pattern, enhanced by crystal tech, could stabilize my resonance cycle, but the connection would be permanent, far deeper than the Empire's mechanical bonds." Raven's combat instincts warred with something else, something that had been growing since that first meeting in the luxury suite. "What exactly are you asking me?" "To choose, as I have chosen." Lyra's form blazed with sudden brightness. "The Empire uses our resonance cycles to enslave us because they know the truth. Meridians can form voluntary bonds far more powerful than any forced connection. But such bonds require true compatibility. Trust, perhaps even love," Raven finished softly. Her neural interfaces sparked in response to Lyra's energy field. "That's why they fear human adaptation so much. We're capable of forming those bonds." Yes, there were cases during the Crystal Wars. Human meridian pairs who chose each other. The Empire erased those records, claimed such unions were abominations. But I have seen the truth in the old archives. They were magnificent. Warning alerts flashed through Raven's neural net. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace. Empire and Resistance vessels working together for once. "They're here," Raven said, accessing the station's sensor grid. "Both sides. They really don't want us setting this precedent, do they?" Lyra's form pulsed with determination. "The choice must be made now. My resonance cycle peaks. If we bond, our combined power could protect us. If not, you'll die." Raven's cybernetic hand clenched. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" "Because I needed you to choose freely. Not out of obligation or pity." Lyra's crystal surface rippled with complex emotions. "I have watched you, Raven Blackwood. Your strength, your adaptability, your fierce dedication to doing what's right. You are everything the Empire fears about humanity, and everything I have grown to love." The enemy ships were launching boarding shuttles. Soon the station would be swarming with troops. But for this moment, time seemed to stop as human and Meridian faced each other in the ancient control center. "I've spent my whole life running from attachments," Raven said quietly. "From family legacy, from military service, from anything that could tie me down. But with you," her neural interfaces hummed in harmony with Lyra's resonance. "With you, I feel like I could fly." "Is that a yes?" Lyra's form brightened hopefully. Instead of answering, Raven stepped forward and pressed her neural interfaces against Lyra's crystal surface. The connection was instant, overwhelming, beautiful. Energy cascaded between them, human determination meeting meridian power in a fusion that made the station's lights flare. Through their new bond, Raven felt Lyra's joy, her fear, her absolute trust. And Lyra felt Raven's protective fury, her adventurous spirit, her growing love. Well, Raven grinned as enemy troops breached the outer doors. Her combat suit's capabilities were already expanding, enhanced by their connection. Shall we show them what happens when you try to stand between a human and her crystal heart? Lyra's answering pulse of affection and excitement flowed through their bond. My beloved guardian, let us rewrite history. The station's corridors filled with the sound of boots and charging weapons, but in the control center, human and Meridian stood together, their combined power building like a storm about to break. The Empire had forgotten why they truly feared human-Meridian cooperation. They were about to receive a very sharp reminder. The first wave of Empire troops didn't stand a chance. They burst into the control center expecting to find a rogue Meridian and a human mercenary. Instead, they found something unprecedented. Raven moved like lightning, her combat suit glowing with crystalline energy channeled through their bond. Each punch, each kick carried the amplified power of Lyra's resonance. Behind her, Lyra's form blazed like a star, using the station's crystal architecture as an extension of her will. Impossible, the Empire commander breathed, watching his elite troops fall before the combined might of human and Meridian. The compatibility protocols, the genetic restrictions. Your Empire's greatest mistake, Raven called out, her neural interfaces sparking with power, was thinking you could control love with rules and regulations. Through their bond, she felt Lyra's fierce joy at those words. Their connection grew stronger with each passing moment, human adaptability merging with Meridian power in ways the Empire had never imagined possible. A new group of attackers breached the far door, resistance fighters this time. Their leader, a scared human woman, stepped forward with hands raised. Commander Jin, Lyra acknowledged, her crystal form pulsing with recognition. I wondered when the resistance would show its true colors. We're trying to help you, Jin insisted. The Empire would bind you to machines. We offer the chance to use your power freely, to fight your wars instead of theirs. Raven interrupted, feeling Lyra's disappointment through their bond. Same cage, different bars. You don't understand what's at stake. Jin's cybernetic eye glowed as she assessed their defenses. A human-Meridian bond. Do you have any idea what that kind of power could do? The Empire kept our peoples apart for a reason. Yes, Lyra's harmonic voice carried new strength, because they knew what would happen when we chose each other freely, when we learned to trust instead of control. The station shuddered as more Empire ships docked, disgorging troops and combat mechs. Through their bond, Raven formulated a plan, receiving Lyra's immediate understanding and support. Last chance, Jin warned. Come with us willingly, or... Raven's response was a burst of crystalline energy that sent the resistance fighters scrambling for cover. She and Lyra moved in perfect synchronization, fighting their way toward the station's power core. They're trying to reach the resonance chamber, Jin shouted into her comm. All units converge, don't let them. But Human and Meridian were already gone, using their bond to navigate the station's maintenance tunnels. Through their connection, Raven shared her knowledge of military tactics, while Lyra provided insight into the station's crystal systems. The Empire's bringing in suppressors, Lyra warned as they ran. Crystalline constructs designed to disrupt Meridian energy patterns. Will they affect our bond? Lyra's answering pulse of emotion contained both worry and determination. They've never encountered a bond like ours, but we should hurry. They'd reached the resonance chamber just as the first suppressor units smashed through the station's outer hull. The massive chamber, lined with pure crystal formations, hummed with latent power. Your plan is insane, Lyra observed, though her tone carried admiration. Using the station's original purpose against them, humans excel at repurposing technology. Raven grinned, her neural interfaces connecting to the ancient systems. Besides, what better way to announce our relationship to the galaxy than with a light show they'll never forget? Empire troops and resistance fighters converged on their position, followed by the towering suppressor units. Through their bond, Raven felt Lyra's power building to unprecedented levels, fueled by the chamber's resonance. "Commander Jin is right about one thing," Lyra said as their enemies approached. "They kept us apart because they feared our potential. Shall we show them why?" Raven's answer was to deepen their connection, allowing Lyra's energy to flow freely through her neural interfaces. The chamber's crystals began to sing, a harmony of human determination and meridian power that made the station itself vibrate. "Stand down." Jin's voice echoed through the chamber. "You'll tear the station apart." "No," Raven replied, feeling Lyra's strength merge completely with her own. "We're going to rebuild it." The suppressors attacked first, their disruptor field seeking to break the bond between human and meridian. But they had been designed to counter forced connections, mechanical interfaces. They had no effect on a bond forged through choice and love. Empire and resistance forces could only watch in awe as Raven and Lyra began to glow, their combined power reaching out to every crystal formation in the station. The ancient research facility had been designed to study human meridian cooperation. Now it would demonstrate the potential to the galaxy. "My beloved guardian," Lyra's voice chimed through their bond as the chamber filled with blinding light. "Are you ready to change everything?" Raven's answering surge of love and determination made the crystals sing louder. "With you, always." The station's power core activated for the first time in centuries, channeling the pure energy of human meridian cooperation. The Empire's carefully maintained lies about compatibility, about the impossibility of true bonds between their peoples, were about to be spectacularly disproven. All they had to do was survive the next few minutes. The resonance chamber erupted with pure energy, human and meridian power combined in ways not seen since the Crystal Wars. Through their bond, Raven and Lyra channeled the station's ancient systems, creating a display of power that made both Empire and Resistance forces fall back in awe. "Look at them," Jin breathed, her cybernetic eye recording everything. "This is what the old record spoke of, the true potential of our peoples working together." The suppressor units crumbled, their disruption fields useless against a willing bond. Empire troops watched in disbelief as their crystal-based weapons began to resonate with the chamber's energy, transforming from tools of destruction into conduits of light. "You see now," Lyra's voice carried through the chamber, amplified by their combined power. "Why the Empire feared this possibility. Why they buried the truth about human meridian compatibility." Raven felt Lyra's memories flow through their bond. Centuries of meridian history, carefully controlled by those in power. They didn't just fear our military potential, she realized. They feared what our bond represents. Hope, change, freedom to choose. A new figure emerged from the Empire lines, Lord Commander Vertex, his crystalline form darker and more angular than Lyra's. "You destroy millennia of tradition for this aberration." His voice crackled with barely contained rage. "A meridian noble bonding with a human mercenary. Your traditions are chains," Lyra responded, her form pulsing with determination. "You bind us to machines, claim it's for the greater good, while denying us the right to form true connections." Through their bond, Raven sensed the perfect moment to act. As Vertex ranted about duty and protocol, she interfaced with the station's communication array, broadcasting the confrontation across Empire space. "Let every meridian see what their leaders have hidden," she challenged. "Show them that bonds formed through choice are stronger than any forced connection." The chamber's crystals amplified the transmission, carrying their words and the visible proof of their power to every corner of the Empire. On countless worlds, meridians watched in fascination as human and crystalline energy danced together in perfect harmony. "You dare," Vertex began, but Commander Jin cut him off. "The Resistance withdraws its claim," she announced, surprising everyone. "We sought to free the Meridians from Empire control, but we were just as guilty of trying to use their power. This," she gestured to Raven and Lyra's glowing forms, "this is true freedom. You cannot simply," Vertex spluttered, but more voices joined the chorus. Empire troops lowered their weapons. Young Meridian officers stepped away from their commanders, crystal forms brightening with newfound hope. Through the station's broadcasts, reports began flowing in of other Meridians coming forward, speaking of human friends, partners, loves they had hidden for fear of persecution. "Your empire is changing," Raven declared, feeling Lyra's joy surge through their bond. "You can either change with it or become as obsolete as those suppressors." Vertex made one last desperate move, drawing on his own crystalline power to attack. But Raven and Lyra's combined strength caught his energy blast and transformed it, turning destruction into creation. The chamber's crystals grew and shifted, forming new patterns that represented the future they fought for. "I understand now," Jin said softly, watching the display. "The Resistance thought we were fighting for Meridian freedom. But true freedom isn't about breaking away. It's about coming together, growing beyond what we were." Through their bond, Raven felt Lyra's agreement. Their connection had grown stronger through the battle, deeper than either had imagined possible. Human adaptability and determination merged with Meridian power and wisdom, creating something entirely new. The Empire forces finally stood down, their own crystal-based technology resonating too strongly with the chamber's energy to be used as weapons. Vertex found himself facing a choice: adapt to the changing reality, or lose all credibility as his careful lies crumbled. "The Empire," he ground out, "will need time to adjust to these developments. Take all the time you need." Lyra's voice carried a hint of her newfound human-influenced humor. "We'll be busy setting up the first official human Meridian cultural exchange program. Unless you prefer we continue this demonstration." The chamber's crystals pulsed with power, emphasizing her point. Vertex retreated, taking his remaining loyal forces with him. As the station settled into a new equilibrium, Jin approached the united pair. "You've started something remarkable," she said. "There will be resistance, attempts to discredit or destroy what you've created." "Let them try," Raven replied, her neural interfaces humming in harmony with Lyra's crystal resonance. "Humans are pretty good at protecting what we love." "And Meridians," Lyra added, her form brightening with affection, "are excellent at amplifying human determination." Their bond carried emotions too deep for words: love, trust, absolute certainty in their shared path. The station's crystals sang with the pure energy of their connection, a testament to what was possible when fear gave way to understanding. "So," Raven grinned as reports continued flowing in of more human Meridian pairs revealing themselves across the galaxy, ready to reshape the future. Lyra's answering pulse of joy and determination made the chamber's crystals chime. "My beloved guardian, I believe we already have." The ancient mining station, once a monument to failed cooperation between their peoples, now blazed with new purpose. As human and Meridian ships began arriving, drawn by their broadcast and carrying others who dreamed of similar bonds, Raven and Lyra stood together in the resonance chamber, their combined power a beacon of hope for a galaxy learning to embrace change. Sometimes the greatest traditions were the ones you built together, one choice at a time.